The story begins by showing us a small house situated in the middle of a vast, desolate, and scorching wilderness. A young man named Ben lives there with his girlfriend. Ben works as a tour guide in the area. It is a small town that attracts tourists from far and wide, and Ben guides them through this treacherous terrain. His girlfriend wants to move to the city to complete her further education and asks Ben to come along. However, Ben flatly refuses. He enjoys living in this quiet place, and his livelihood is here. He gives his girlfriend a gun and asks her to make a promise. She must always keep it under her pillow for safety before going to sleep at night. She smiles and agrees to do exactly that, then leaves for the city. After she departs, Ben misses her terribly in the ensuing loneliness. Later, the local sheriff summons Ben and tells him that a wealthy businessman named Maddock, based in Los Angeles, has arrived and is looking for an expert tour guide. Maddock wants to hunt the desert bighorn sheep, a task that is notoriously difficult due to the challenge of locating and hunting them. He wants to hire Ben for the job, offering him $8,000 a day. This is a massive sum for Ben, as he has never before been offered such an amount. They hadn't set out together. That is why Ben agrees to go along with him without much thought. When Ben steps outside with him, he sees that people come there to hunt. Hunting is legal in this area, though the rule applies only to those with licensed guns. The two of them reach a dangerous part of the wilderness where they are supposed to hunt. But by now, the sun has fully set, and night has fallen. They light a fire at a spot and talk comfortably with each other. Ben tells him about his girlfriend, who has moved to the city, and mentions his parents, recalling how they once got stranded in this very wilderness during his childhood. His father's car had suddenly broken down, and they remained stuck there for days, waiting for help that never arrived. In the scorching heat, his mother kept applying her lipstick to his face, which helped protect him from the intense sun. However, his parents succumbed to dehydration and died in agony right before his eyes. Ben becomes deeply emotional while recounting this painful story. Afterward, they both go to sleep right there. The next morning, at sunrise, they set out to hunt. Along the way, Maddock starts firing his gun aimlessly, making Ben realize that he has absolutely no hunting experience. Angrily, Ben asks who gave him the license. Maddock arrogantly replies that he doesn't have a license. He has plenty of money, so he doesn't need one. Ben tries to explain that hunting here with an unlicensed gun is completely illegal. But before Ben can say anything else, Maddock hands him a large sum of money, silencing him and causing him to quietly move forward. The two of them then head to the top of a high cliff, where Ben scans the area for prey using his binoculars. For a long time, he spots nothing. Meanwhile, Maddock keeps annoying him like a fool, until suddenly, Maddock fires his gun in a specific direction, even though Ben hadn't told him to shoot there at all. They rush over to the spot and discover that an elderly man from the town, who used to prospect for minerals in the wilderness, has been shot. The man is lying there, covered in blood. Ben knew the old man well, and immediately wants to help him, so he runs to the car to get a first aid kit. Meanwhile, we see Maddock, who is terrified by the scene. He realizes he has committed a grave crime. He immediately calls his partner, explains the situation, and says he might be in deep trouble. His partner advises him to shoot the man again, not with his own gun, but with Ben's. Maddock does exactly that. Hearing the loud gunshot, Ben runs back and sees that the old man has now been shot twice. He shouts at Maddock, asking why he did it. Maddock cunningly replies, "I didn't do it, you did. You fired one shot and I fired the other. That means we are both responsible for his death." Ben realizes that Maddock did this solely to save himself and frame Ben. Maddock then tempts him with an offer. If Ben keeps quiet about the incident, he will pay him 300,000 rupees a year and secure his admission to a university, allowing him to live comfortably in the city with his girlfriend. Swayed by the prospect of money and a secure future, Ben agrees. The two of them bury the old man in the sand right there, say a prayer for his soul, and return to their car. Back at the vehicle, Maddock is wasting water while casually washing his face. This upsets Ben, as water is extremely scarce in this arid wasteland. Ben quietly approaches the car where his bag is kept. Inside is a small gadget he can use to send an emergency message. Just before he could send a message to the sheriff, Maddock spots him from behind and immediately holds him at gunpoint. Angrily, Maddock reminds him of the agreement they had that he wouldn't tell anyone about, and accuses him of breaking that pact through his betrayal. He then crushes the man's gadget underfoot and, keeping his gun trained on him, orders him to strip off all his clothes. To save his life, Ben is forced to comply. Maddock makes him remove his clothes and shoes, telling him to walk home barefoot. Ben has no choice but to comply and begins walking across the scorching, rugged terrain. Maddock knows full well that Ben will never make it home. Instead, he will likely perish from the extreme heat and thirst. Consequently, the blame for the death of the old man, whose name was Charlie, would fall entirely on Ben, especially since one of the bullets lodged in the old man's body came from Ben's gun. The police would assume Ben killed him and fled, only to die a wretched death from hunger and thirst along the way. Ben slowly trudges forward across the burning sand. After a while, he comes across a marker post and reads the number on it. Maddock is watching him closely from a distance through binoculars. He intends to pursue Ben relentlessly until he witnesses his death. Ben pushes on through the pain, and upon reaching the second marker post, he runs and vanishes among the rocks. Maddock witnesses this and speeds his vehicle toward the spot where Ben disappeared. Upon arrival, he finds finds no trace of Ben. In reality, Ben has slipped into a cave hidden within the rocks, a secret bunker that belonged to the old man Medic had shot and killed. The bunker is stocked with food and water. Ben immediately quenches his raging thirst. The walls are lined with photographs, including one showing both Ben and the old man together. Ben had known him for years and regarded him as a father figure. Weeping, Ben apologizes for failing to save his life. Just then, he realizes that someone is entering the cave. Ben quickly snatches a map displayed there, hides it, and slips into the darkness inside. The medic arrives on the scene. Knowing Ben is hiding there, he plants a bomb and immediately exits. Moments later, a massive explosion occurs, reducing the entire structure to rubble. Fortunately for Ben, he had already escaped via another route before the debris collapsed. He then moves forward. Suddenly, the medic appears before him. Laughing, he tells Ben that he is free to go home if he wishes, but warns that any attempt to hide or flee will result in him being shot from a distance. Ben knows the medic possesses a highly advanced weapon capable of unerring accuracy over long ranges. Consequently, Ben is forced to press on into the scorching, hellish desert. The nearest town is 45 miles away, and Ben begins his journey using a map he had managed to conceal from the medic. Before long, he reaches the spot where he and the now deceased old man had once set up a sofa for resting. Ben removes the foam from the sofa and straps it to his bare feet. Walking barefoot on the burning sand had left his feet severely injured and bleeding. This location offers a blind spot where the medic cannot see him, so Ben seizes the opportunity to slip out of the medic's sight once again. The map indicates the location of a treasure. Following it, he arrives at a spot marked with a cross. He digs into the ground with his hands and uncovers a box containing a slingshot and some marbles, which he takes and keeps for himself. The map also shows a second marker. Upon reaching it, he finds a water bottle buried upright in the ground. His body is severely dehydrated and his throat is parched, so he quickly opens the cap to drink. However, a bullet, fired by the medic from afar, suddenly strikes the bottle. The bottle falls some distance away, spilling all the water into the sand. The map actually identifies the location as a treasure site in such a scorching, desolate wasteland. No treasure is more valuable than water, a fact Ben likely already knew. Now, Ben is forced to press on, still parched, in a desperate bid to survive. Meanwhile, in the distance, we see Medic calmly mixing and sipping a drink, his eyes fixed entirely on Ben. After walking a bit further, Ben's strength fails him, and he collapses. Medic then drives his vehicle over to him. He finds Ben completely unconscious. Medic fires shots near him twice to determine whether he is alive or dead, but Ben does not move at all, leading Medic to conclude that he has died. Having accomplished his objective, Medic drives away.